This is my uncle, Ibrahim Bishra, and I built my uncle a pizza kiln with Yana in July 2010 when we were visiting him in Montana. Some of these are from his pizza oven, and some of them are for here at the pizza oven we use tonight. The first thing you want to do if you're going to build a pizza, this is a 6-minute course in building your own pizza oven. So the first thing you want to do is build a platform. I do that typically with Leica stone here. It's very important to use ill-fasting stoneware bricks. If you use just house bricks, it'll last for 1 or 2 or 3 times, but then they tend to split and crack. Here's some of the NACO students from UCN putting together the kiln, the pizza oven 2 weeks ago. Jan and I have built 25 of these in the last 3 years, and they're really fun. The more people you have to do it, the more fun it is. Here are the students, the international students from Romania and the Caribbean, Hungary and Lithuania are mixing up clay. The clay for the inside of the pizza oven should be about the width of your fist this way, and it's a mixture of 1 part stoneware clay to 2 parts sand. And it's actually pretty forgiving. You mix it up by wedging it, just by walking on it and putting the stuff on the outside to the center. And you want it to be fairly solid, but not too solid. You shape it into footballs. The next thing you want to do is build a sand mound, which is the shape of the interior of your chamber after you empty that out later. You can see I'm also starting to build the arch there for the entrance. And I'll use just a plastic bucket with some clay over it to be an arch form, and then pull it out. Once you've got the rough sand with just wet sand mound up there, you sculpt it with your hands, and the shape it should look like is the pointy end of an egg. That's a catenary arch, or concentric arch, gravity arch, and it's one of the strongest forms that we know of for holding weight. I think then you just want to polish that down. And you're going to put clay all the way around. The clay will be mixed up in a ratio of 2 sand to 1 clay. You put a little newspaper on it before you do that. Now we're going to switch to Yen and I in Montana, where my uncle Ibrahim is from. You can see that we put clay around and we made an insulating layer of, in this case, perlite. You can use Leica, you can use straw or sawdust. Makes 3 parts of that insulating material to 2 parts of sand to 1 part of clay. Here I am emptying out the sand from the interior of that pizza oven. The arch on this one was pretty nice. You can also see that I have 2 layers of bricks on this, and that really helps you to hold the heat. The bricks are the most expensive part of the kiln, but they're also the most important. Now, we don't have the final layer of lime mortar on this kiln quite yet, but we will soon. I think in the next spring, Jan is going to start the fire. When you light the fire initially to dry these out, it's very difficult to get it to go and to get draft. Right where Jan's arms are is where the oven takes air in. It goes back to the combustible material, wood or paper, whatever you got in there, wraps around and comes out the upper part of the arch there. Eventually, you can get a fire established in the pizza oven. And when you're heating the oven up, it's important that you don't make a big fire. You just want a little fire that kind of goes along for a little bit. That's the best way to heat the interior of the kiln. If you make a big fire, it will actually block the heat from going down into the stones and the sides of the kiln. This was, we built this kiln, or this pizza oven in a single day, and then we're firing pizza in the evening. I should mention we excavated the site down about 20 centimeters and filled that with gravel and sand to make sure that it would be stable. Here again is just drying out the kiln. The next step is we need a kind of a weatherproof or waterproof layer on top of that. And for that in Denmark we have kelp mortar. And in the United States I take lime a bag of quicklime, and I mix that dry with sand and then add water until I have a lime mortar. And this lime mortar tends to be really solid and resists very well the weather and the rain and the frost. The only thing that's really bad for these kilns is if they're not in cover. If they're damp when you hit freezing temperatures, then the chalk mortar tends to spring. We've also put a kind of stucco mix over the concrete blocks that we use for a foundation here. And that's the back side of the kiln.
Gregory, how about rain?
Rain? What's that?
How do they hold up with the rain?
They hold up fine. Once you got the chalk mortar on, it's a waterproof layer, and that's no problem. It's only frost with water that causes that to spring. Well, we were all really pleased with this kiln, especially my uncle Ibrahim. When I was 6 years old, Ibrahim taught me to make pita bread, and we typically had Arabic food when I was growing up when they visited our house or when we were visiting theirs. He's a very special man. He moved from Palestine, Israel, when he was 19 years old, and met my Aunt Martha, my mother's younger sister, when they were going to college together. And they have 4 children: Wardi, Amal, Gibran, and Janan. And these were the cousins that we would visit summer after summer after summer. Behind Yan and I there is Glacier National Park.
Is the sole purpose of the cinder block to raise the...
Yeah, you could build it right in the ground.
So it's comfortable to eat.
Yeah.
How many pizzas can you fit?
That depends on the size. I mean, Marcus and I tonight, we were making 2 pieces at a time.
How long does it take to preheat and how much do you need for pizza?
You need to preheat about 3 hours to make sure it's good and warm throughout the oven. And did you say how much wood you need?
Yeah, is it wood?
Yeah, it's wood fired. It's wood fired, but we don't. I don't measure. It's just really important to have dry wood. You need a lot of wood. You need as much wood as you need. Thank you very much.